28. Empathy and sympathy. Empathy.
When we see a happy or angry face, our nervous system generates the corresponding emotion, empathy, in us.
Empathetic.
The know-how to be empathetic is central to practical wisdom. Unless we can understand how others think and feel, it's difficult to know the right thing to do.
Empathize.
We can empathize with others and feel sad for them and want to help them.
Sympathy.
Empathy is the ability to understand other people's feelings, while sympathy is the feeling of being sorry for people who are in bad situations. Feeling sympathy for the old man, he fixed the bicycle.
Sympathetic.
It is important to remember that a misunderstanding is never ended by an argument, but by a sympathetic desire to see the other person's view.
Sympathize.
Volunteers sympathized with those starving people, but had hard times getting enough food.
Crave.
People crave more information about how food is produced.
Craving.
Consider taking a small bag of fruits with you when you are away from home. That way, you can satisfy a mid-afternoon craving.
Tease.
Although Bob was worried that Tom might be teased by the other kids, he decided to take the risk.
Rage.
In one sense, every character you create will be yourself. You've never murdered, but your murderer's rage will be drawn from memories of your own extreme anger.
Restore.
We hope you will devote resources to restoring the walking paths in Freer Park.
Restoration.
In return for your cooperation, we will make a contribution to the National Forest Restoration Project.
Simultaneous.
We don't know why these simultaneous explosions of intellectual activity occurred when they did.
Simultaneously.
The city saved millions of dollars and improved its environment simultaneously.
Explode.
One day, after the Space Shuttle Challenger exploded, she asked her students to write down exactly where they were when they heard the news. When he is finished restoring her car, he explodes with rage at her.
Explosion.
Printing became cheaper and faster, leading to an explosion in the number of newspapers and magazines.
Explosive.
Technological advances provided the basis for the explosive expansion of local, regional, and global transportation networks, and made travel faster, easier, and cheaper.
Abrupt.
We were surprised when the company made an abrupt change of plan.
Abruptly.
We were surprised when the company changed the plan abruptly.
Anguish.
I noticed that the young mother and the young soldier began to cry together. I was struck by the pain and anguish that both of these young people endured because of the political situation.
Agony.
The painter was fighting extreme pain with each brushstroke. His friend asked abruptly, "Why do you continue to paint when you are in such agony?"
Grief.
Grief is unpleasant. Would one not then be better off without it altogether?
Soothe.
My explanation did not soothe her. In fact, it seemed to make things worse.
Hinder.
Original versions of classical texts don't hinder our reading, but rather activate our intelligence.
Hindrance.
She began helping in the kitchen when she turned 3 years old, but at that age, she was more of a hindrance than help.
Metabolism.
Metabolism is the chemical processes by which food is changed into energy in the body.
Restrict.
Eventually, the use of alarm call will be restricted to those situations when an eagle is spotted in the skies above.
Restriction.
Calorie restriction can cause your metabolism to slow down and significantly reduce energy levels.
Constrain.
We are constrained by the scarcity of resources, including a limited availability of time.
Constraint.
When some banks tried to gain a competitive advantage by opening on Saturday mornings, it attracted a number of new customers who found the traditional Monday to Friday bank opening hours to be a constraint.
Confine.
He was confined to his home during the last decade of his life because of illness.
Confinement.
All the political prisoners were immediately released from confinement.
Primary.
In the traditional teacher-centered model, the teacher is the primary source of information.
Primarily.
Her subject matter primarily focused on the life of rich African Americans.
Reindeer.
These people lived primarily on large game, particularly reindeer.